Hi there, welcome to a special report of Talk with Antonio. Originally, I was supposed to be talking about the last match of John Cena in the WWE because that was in the plan to record, but that's going to be postponed until next week because I gotta talk about how can I say this? First of all, I want to talk about the death of Peter Greene, who died on December 12th, 2025. And another one, but this one was more shocking, so to say. The death of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. They were both stabbed. I was like, what? I'm not gonna lie. When I heard, when I heard about Peter Greene, yeah, I knew. I wasn't gonna say that he wasn't that old because he wasn't. 60 years old. That's not neither young nor old. That's middle aged. But with Rob Reiner, people, oh my god. I don't know. I'm sorry if I keep stuttering or just fumbling words. It's just because I swear I don't know what to say because it was with Rob Reiner, it was a violent death, you know. But first of all, let's start with Peter Greene. Peter Greene was an American actor. He always portrayed villains. He was born on October 8th, 1965. He passed away December 12th, 2025 at the age of 60 in New York City. He was born in Montclair, New Jersey, and he died in New York City. It says here, I always remember him in two movies. He appeared in a bunch of them, but I know him in Pulp Fiction as the sadistic security guard Zed. I know him as Dorian Tyrell in The Mask. And he would also play Clean Shaven and The Usual Suspects in 1994, 1995. It says here that he also appeared he appeared in Laws of Gravity, Clean Shaven, Judgment Night, as I said before, Pulp Fiction, The Mask, The Usual Suspects, Bang, Under Siege, Dark Territory, I remember him, Lowball, Coyote Run, The Rich Man's Wife, Snakeland, Trading Favors, Double Tap, Kiss and Tell, Permanent Midnight, Out in 50, Blue Streak, Shadow Hours, Nobody's Baby, Ticker, Training Day, Scenes of the Crime, Dead Dogs Lie, The Gentleman Bandit, Under the Influence, Black Cloud, Confession, Brothers in Arms, Endgame, Love Hollywood Style, Final Engagement, I'm Calling Frank, Clown, Blue Knight, Forgive Me Not, Fist of the Warrior, Caller ID, The Bounty Hunter, Earthling, Once Fallen, Once More, Keep Your Enemies Closer, A Porn Star is Born, The Grasslands, Shanghai Hotel, The Shoemaker, Brutal, The Kill Hole, The Child, Checkmate, Keep Your Enemies Closer, Sweet Lorraine, Turnabout, New York, New York, City of Lies, Exit Zero, Samir, Tesla, Let's Get Lost, Priceless, Body Brokers, Return to Danger, The Crusaders, Out of Exile, The Mick of the Trick, Little Dixie, Pet Shop Days, Beggarman, and Clicker. In television, he appeared in Hardball, As the World Turns, Black Cat Run, Law and Order, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, Dead and Dreader, The Black Donnellys, Life on Mars, Justified, Hawaiian 5-0, Chicago PD, Still the King, For Life, The Jersey Connection, The Continental from the World of John Wick. In music videos, he appeared in The House of Pain, Prodigy, Necro, Jadakiss, and A. the Rugged Man. Now, in terms of his death, it says here that actor Peter Greene was reportedly discovered lying face down on the floor with a strange note when police found him dead on Friday. It says here that Peter was lying on the floor face down, facial injury, blood everywhere. A neighbor described the gruesome scene to the New York Daily News. The outlet additionally reported that a strange handwritten note was found seen along with the actor's body. It said, and I quote, "I'm still a Westie," it read, referring to the 1970s Irish-American gang that operated out of Hell's Kitchen. A representative for Greene did not immediately respond to page 6 request for comment. Greene was pronounced dead on Friday after he was found unresponsive in a Lower East Side apartment on Clinton Street around 3:25 p.m. He was 60 years old. It says here that police told the Post that no foul play was suspected, that a cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner. Greene was the father of a 16-year-old son, Ryder. The Pulp Fiction star death was confirmed by longtime manager Greg Edwards, who remembered the late actor as a, quote, "terrific guy," in a statement to the outlet. "Truly one of the greatest actors of our generation. His heart, as big as he was, I'm going to miss him. He was a great friend." It appears that Greene's death came as a surprise to Edwards and others around. He was originally scheduled to film with Mickey Rourke on an independent thriller called Mascots. Upon learning of the actor's passing, Edwards said that the film's writer, Kenny Mondragon, was, quote, "very upset." He worked with him with so many actors and directors, Edward added, citing Greene's performance as mobster Dorian Tyrell as opposite Jim Carrey on Cameron Diaz's The Mask as arguably his best role. His additional credits include Laws of Gravity, Clean Shaven, Blue Streak, and Trading Days, I mentioned. But, as I'm reading here, and they found that note that said, "I'm still a Westie," it says here there was no foul play. I'm no expert to say this, but this, like I said, this is just my opinion. I suspect suicide. As I said before, I could be wrong, but it kind of has that, like you said, every time I hear there was a note left by somebody, and it always ends up being in suicide. And his face was, they found a lying face down with blood on the floor. Those are telltale signs of a suicide. But like I said, I could be wrong, perhaps. And now to a huge one. And I just Jesus Christ, on a taxi cab. When I heard about this one, ladies and gentlemen, I was absolutely stunned. Earlier today, while I was working and I was waiting for orders because I was doing my regular job, this is a delivery driver, I decided to check my phone because I was getting a lot of alerts on my phone. Like, what the heck is this? Yesterday on December 14th, it says that 2 bodies were found in the house of Rob Reiner in Brentwood. But at that time, it said it didn't say it was Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. But they kept saying they found 2 bodies at the house of Rob Reiner. And I was like, no, it can't be it. And then I follow another dude on Instagram that says, "Fuck 2025." And it says here, it was confirmed, to be that it was Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, who were found dead in their Brentwood home on Sunday in what police are describing as an apparent homicide. It says here that a spokesperson for the Reiner family confirmed the death Sunday evening. And I quote, "It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner," the family spokesperson said in a statement. Quote, "We are heartbroken by the sudden loss and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time," unquote. It says here that the Los Angeles Police Department were investigating the death as a homicide after the couple's bodies were found at their home in the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue. Police said Reiner, age 78, was a legendary actor, director, and later political activist, and his wife was a photographer and producer. Law enforcement sources told the Times that a family member was being interviewed in connection with the deaths. A source who was not authorized to speak publicly about the ongoing investigation, but had knowledge of the investigation and confirmed that there was no sign of forced entry into the home. The source also said that the Reiners had injuries consistent with being stabbed. Oh, man. I cannot even imagine the pain that they were in. It says here that at a news conference late Sunday, LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton released little information about the case, but said the death investigation was ongoing. He said detectives were working to secure a search warrant before launching a thorough investigation inside and outside the residence. Quote, at this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and move forward, unquote, Hamilton said. He said many family members will be interviewed, but that, quote, no one has been detained, no one is being questioned as a suspect, unquote. Hamilton did confirm that the person who was initially reported the incident was at the house. Their identity was not being released at this time, he said. Early Sunday, Margaret Stewart, a Los Angeles Fire Department spokesman, said that the department was called to the residence at around 3:30 p.m. for medical aid. Inside the home, the two bodies were found. Reiner had a 5-decade-long career in Hollywood. Yeah, he did have a long career in Hollywood, and a lot of people. But I remember him as in the series All in the Family as Michael, quote, Meathead Stivic, because that's what Archie Bunker used to call him all the time, Meathead. Look at this meathead. Look at this meathead. Because that's the only thing. He never, I think only once when I used to watch that series did Archie Bunker call him once just Michael. But then in the rest of the series, he called him Meathead. It says here that as director, Reiner held a string of hits, including When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap. His work took a dramatic turn when he directed the 1986 adaptation of Stephen King's novella Stand By Me. Reiner was nominated for an Academy Award for 1992's A Few Good Men, which starred Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. Throughout the movie, though the movie lost to Clint Eastwood's Western Unforgiven. And I do remember that Reiner was also a leading political voice in Hollywood. He was super liberal, believe me. He says that he was also a co-founder of the American Foundation for Equal Rights, the organization that led the fight to overturn Proposition 8, which bans same-sex marriage. He also been active in children's issues throughout the years, having led the campaign to pass Proposition 10. The California Children and Families Initiative, which created an ambitious program of early childhood development services. Proposition 10 was considered landmark policy. Reiner enlisted help in the effort from Steven Spielberg, the late Robin Williams, his own father, comedy legend Carl Reiner. It says here that Reiner was married to... It says here that he was married to Penny Marshall, the star of Laverne and Shirley, from 1971 to 1981. He met photographer Michelle Reiner on the set When Harry Met Sally, and the two married in 1989, the year the movie came out. Michelle Reiner began producing films over the last decade, including Shock and Awe, Albert Brooks, Defending My Wife, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, all directed by her husband. She also produced God and Country, a look at the Christian nationalism in the U.S. And it shows a picture here. A police officer rolls out the crime scene tape outside of the home of Rob Reiner in Brentwood on Sunday night. By Sunday evening, law enforcement had swarmed Reiner spiraling the state in Brentwood, though an eerie quiet hung over the Chadbourne Avenue, which had been sealed from the public with yellow crime scene tape. Police cars were stationed at the end of the block where the Reiner residence is located, where a chopper circled overhead. Officers spoke to a young man inside a sealed-off area who left the scene around 7:30 p.m. in a white Tesla and declined to speak to the media. It says here that council member Tracy Park, whose West Side district includes Brentwood, said in a statement that the LAPD had increased patrols in the neighborhood out of an abundance of caution. Quote, As we continue to wait for more updates, I want to express my profound concern and sadness at the news coming out of Brentwood, Park wrote in the statement. We are in close contact with the LAPD, with the homicide unit continues their investigation. Mayor Karen Bass wrote in a statement that she was heartbroken by the tragic loss of Rob and his wife Michelle. Quote, Rob Reiner's contributions reverberate throughout the American culture and society. He has improved countless lives throughout his creative work and advocacy, fighting for social and economic justice, Bass said. An acclaimed actor, director, producer, writer, and engaged political activist. He always used his gifts in service of others. Governor Gavin Newsom also expressed his sympathy. Governor Newsom and first partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom remember Rob as a renowned director, writer, and activist, and his wife as an accomplished producer and photographer. Governor Newsom said, and I quote, Rob was the big-hearted genius behind so many of the classic stories we love. The governor and first partner wrote in a statement late Sunday. His boundless empathy and his stories made timeless, teaching generations how to see goodness and righteousness in others and encouraging us to dream bigger. That empathy extended beyond his films. He made California a better place through his good works, unquote. Also, it says here that President Obama and First Lady Michelle also expressed sympathy for the death of Rob Reiner. And also, like right now, when I heard about Rob Reiner's death, I began to wonder about his co-star in the series On the Family, Sally Struthers. And there's an article here it's on Parade.com. Sally Struthers revealed the truth about her friendship with Rob Reiner months before his death. It says here that they talk about like the how he was established, and then Struthers spoke. It says here that Struthers spoke about co-starring alongside Reiner in an April 2025 interview with Celebrity Drop. During the interview, Struthers explained that all of the family scripts need to be right length to account for the live studio audience's laughter. Said that Reiner would edit the scripts during the cast table reads. This is what she said, and I quote, Rob Reiner was light years ahead of everyone with what to do. He would say, all right, everybody go to page 2. You see Edith, played by Jean Stapleton, and Archie's, played by Carol O'Connor, lines at the bottom of the page. You can cut it. You won't miss them. It doesn't ruin a joke, Struthers said during the interview. According to the Gilmore's star, the show's creator, Norman Lear, wasn't initially happy with Reiner's edits. However, Lear and the show's cast quickly learned Rob was correct. So it says here that Struthers said that she wasn't pleased when Reiner would cut of her character's lines. She said, and I'd be sitting here with steam come out of my ears because I had 3 lines. So if you took one of them away, I had 2 lines, Struthers said. She said that Reiner would eventually advise her to focus on the success of each episode instead of the number of lines she read. She said, and I quote, I forced myself to have that attitude, and after that, I was offering to give up lines. He fixed the whole situation for me. That was a very smart guy, Struthers said. She was in awe of him because he was light years ahead of her in terms of industry and the business of the show. According to Struthers, Reiner was already planning a career as a director while he was shooting All in the Family. He was in his mid-20s. He already plotted out a career post-Meathead. And I was just showing up every day, never thinking about the future. And she says that when Struthers was asked if she and Reiner were, quote, good friends, she replied, and I quote, I thought we were. She said that after she and Reiner had left All in the Family after its 8th season, he made a habit of calling her. She said that he would call me once in a while and he wouldn't say hello. He would just start a joke and then he'd say it and he hung up, recalled Struthers with a laugh in the interview. She said that the calls went on for a few years until he stopped. I didn't understand why. She said, I didn't understand why it stopped. She also said that she interacted with Reiner during the 2003 premiere of The Producers at the Hollywood Pantages Theater. I went running towards him, screaming, Robbie, and he put his hand out ahead of me, really stiffly like the Tin Man, shook him my hand, kept me as far away as possible. He said robotically, Hello, Sally. Nice to see you, Sally. I was horrified, she said. She theorized that Reiner wanted singer Reiner, whom she wed in 1989, to feel comfortable in their dynamic. She also said that she decided that she would avoid him in public after that situation. But after that, she said, I felt if I was walking down the street and saw him walking towards me, I would duck in an alley. I didn't want to have that thing happen again, said Struthers. And it says that the late Penny Marshall was also suspicious about the friendship between Rob Reiner and Sally Struthers. It says that he didn't tell me one day at CBS, Penny's coming to the taping today. She said, why are you telling me that? She comes every week for the taping, he said. Because I don't want you to say hi to her. Why? He says. She thinks you and I are having an affair. And she said, and Sally said, you're kidding. According to Struthers, Reiner told that Marshall mistook her friendliness for flirtatiousness. It's like, it always happens with couples and all that stuff. But, it is what it is. But right now, Sally Struthers, you can tell that she was heartbroken about the death of Rob Reiner. And but right now, I'm a little bit I'm confused right now because of what happened to Rob Reiner. This was updated here on December 15th, 2025 at 12:30 a.m. It says here that Rob Reiner, this is on people.com, it says that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Reiner were found dead in their home, and their son Nick is now being questioned by police. It says here that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Reiner were killed by their son Nick, who, according to multiple sources who have spoken with family members, police have not yet confirmed the account. And it talks about how they found their bodies. It says that police say Nick is alive and being questioned. No arrests have been made. It says here that Nick talks about how he struggled with drug addiction, mental health, drug addiction, and periods of homelessness. If that's the case, I don't even know what the fuck, I'm serious. I don't know what the fuck to think right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if it says here that it's not been confirmed that Nick killed both his mom and dad, do I believe it? Has it been confirmed? All I can say is, ladies and gentlemen, is I don't know. The only thing I can say about Rob Reiner is he had a long career in Hollywood. He was talented. He was very active in the political scene. What can I say, people? Honestly, the year 2025 has been absolute garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. I can't even imagine right now what was going through the mind of both Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. They were stabbed to death. I don't know. I just can't really. I'm sorry. It's just like I can't even fathom that, people. The pain that they were in. Honestly, I don't know what to say about that. I just hope, if that's the case, I don't know if I should believe what People magazine says. I don't know what to say. The only thing I can say is I'm sorry if I'm just flabbergasted in terms of the way they died, you know. Rest in peace, Peter Greene. Rest in peace, Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. Peace out.